Stadium is one of the loudest in the National Football League. The fans here often brought to fever pitch by their heroes, the emotional and physical Baltimore Ravens. And that's just some of what Houston has to contend with today as the 3-1 Ravens host the 3-2 Texans. Hi everyone, welcome to Baltimore. Greg Gumbel along with my Hall of Fame partner Dan Deerdorf. You know as well as we do, injuries are just a way of life around the National Football League. The Houston Texans certainly have them. Andre Johnson is out on offense. Mario Williams gone for the year on defense. But this week, the Houston Texans, Dan, had to wonder whether or not they'd have their quarterback, Matt Schaub, available.
Well, he was a little sore this week. He's doing just fine, so don't worry about Matt Schaub. But, you know, the guy is tough. But against the Raiders last week, he was pummeled, driven into the ground repeatedly, and he bruised his shoulder, although he took one hit right at the very end where you had to wonder, geez, how are his knees? But they're doing fine. But Matt Schaub, he told us after sitting out on Wednesday as a precautionary measure, no pain, no soreness at all. He's just fine.
Here's the bad news for Matt Schaub. He has to go up against the Baltimore Ravens defense today, which, let's be honest, they just don't like quarterbacks very much.
What a novel concept being in Baltimore talking about their defense. But they have made it tough on everybody so far in this young season. They started off with the Steelers forcing them into 7 turnovers. Even in a loss to the Titans, they got after Matt Hasselbeck. They just bombarded Sam Bradford and the Rams. And then 2 weeks ago, their last game, Mark Sanchez and the Jets felt their wrath. An outstanding pressurizing defense.
Speaking of outstanding, Dan, it is a beautiful, beautiful day here in Baltimore. Temperature in the low 70s, and the sun has been shining almost ever since we got to town this weekend. The Houston Texans have won the toss, and they will receive. Number 38, Daniel Manning, is deep. He's averaging 27.5 yards a return. And it has been a little breezy, and right off the bat, we see evidence of that.
It has been very breezy, and you see the Cundiff has the ball blow off the tee, and it's going to be interesting to watch in the kicking game. We saw some attempted field goals that were making right and left turns, and it'll be interesting to see how both these quarterbacks do, throwing either into the wind or when it's at their back.
Cundiff approaches. The kick is on its way, and we are underway. Manning will let this one go. And the Houston Texans will begin from their own 20-yard line. Matt Schaub, the Texans quarterback, under the gun this week for a last play end zone interception against the Raiders last week. He comes in with 9 touchdown passes and 5 interceptions. It is a loud, loud stadium for visitors to deal with. On first down, Schaub throws near side, Kevin Walter. And Walter buried after about a 2-yard gain. It is a solid and talented offensive line. Big and steady Eric Winston makes his 76th consecutive start at right tackle. Among the backs and receivers is Lawrence Vickers, who steps in and starts for the injured James Casey at fullback.
Casey not being active today is a big loss for the Texans. They'll miss his versatility.
On 2nd and 8, this is Arian Foster. Slips as he tried to make his cut. No gain on the play. Baltimore's front line boasts maybe the best D lineman in all of football in Haloti Ngata. A sack and 3 fumble recoveries, including 1 return for a TD. Terrific linebackers led as this defense is led by 12-time Pro Bowler Ray Lewis. In the secondary, strong safety Tom Zivakowski out with a concussion. Ex-Houston Texan Bernard Pollard starts for him. And Derek Mason, the newly acquired wide receiver, makes his first appearance of the day. Over the middle, Walter complete across the 30 to about the 33-yard line and a first down.
Well, this time Kevin Walters matched up on Ladarius Webb. You can see him right there. Webb has got him in man coverage all the way, and he's just that half step behind him. And that took a very good throw from Matt Schaub to move the chains. And Gary Kubiak in his 6th year calls the plays. He runs this offense.
There is Andre Johnson. Suffered a hamstring injury a couple of weeks ago. He's closer to coming back, says Coach Kubiak. Then most realize under pressure, Schaub throws it away.
Well, he did throw it away, but he threw it away legally because he had Arian Foster right there. This is what Matt Schaub is looking at. Here comes Corey Redding right up the middle. Good swim move. He gets around trying to set up the screen. As an offensive lineman, when you're running a screen, you have got to stunt that initial charge of a defensive lineman. You can't let him get full stride after your quarterback.
On 2nd and 10, this is Foster. This time on the cut, he doesn't slip. He's out across the 35 to about the 36-yard line. A pickup of 3.
And something the Ravens have been working on all week long was this stretch play that the Houston Texans love to run. They love to get the defensive lineman running down the line of scrimmage, giving Foster that one cut back into a crease and upfield. Texans converted a 3rd and 8. Now it's a 3rd and 7. This is a bad habit to get into against this defense.
Over the middle, got his man across the 45 for a first down is Derek Mason.
Well, Derek Mason, of course, played for so many years here in Baltimore. And again, Matt Schaub with a good pocket, but he puts it right where it has to be. Put it out in front, let Mason make a play on it. And again, that's just the same pattern they converted on last time. Different receivers, same crossing pattern, left to right.
To the 49 is Ben Tate. Derek Mason told us yesterday that he missed practice on Wednesday, so he's only had 2 days of practice with his team, and says he feels he can play fast with the terminology he has down so far.
Well, after 15 years in the NFL, you do learn to pick things up in a hurry. But and Mason being looked at by the Texans training staff, looks like he's having trouble breathing.
2nd and 8. Schaub goes down at the 41. Ray Lewis.
Well, this time Chuck Pagano sends an all-out blitz. And here's Ray Lewis right up here at the top in that group. Watch him loop around. Here he comes. And again, a missed block. Lawrence Vickers is late, trying to get back to the inside. And that's the kind of blitz. There's Chuck Pagano, the defensive coordinator in his first year. Without Andre Johnson, teams are blitzing the Texans more often without safety help.
3rd and 15. And the give is to Foster. Foster across midfield and very close to a first down. He does have a first down.
Boy, what a call by Gary Kubiak. Converting a first down, giving it to Foster on a delay. And a great job of blocking up front. You see Suggs took the inside. And then look at Foster, very smartly gets to the sidelines, moves the ball over to his left hand. He knows he's got Bernard Pollard to deal with. But Pollard comes up with nothing but air. So many people get confused by the speed of Foster with that side.
From the 42, out to the near side and off the fingertips of Foster, incomplete. You were talking about that, Dan. Ray Lewis said the interesting thing about Foster is that he makes his cut and then his speed kicks in.
Well, and you see people taking bad angles to try to get to Arian Foster. They see him at 6'1", 230 pounds, and your brain says, well, a guy that size only runs this speed. In reality, he's running faster than that. And you see guys all the time, like we just saw with Pollard.
2nd and 10. Short route for Schaub. Whip time over the middle, incomplete. Intended for Bryant Johnson, broken up by Bernard Pollard.
Well, the Texans here have converted some first downs, and they've started games really well this season in New Orleans. They finished it off with a 14-yard touchdown to Owen Daniels. Then Daniels again versus the Steelers. Against the Raiders, Kevin Walter got a touchdown. They've scored 24 points overall. They've added a field goal on another drive. on their opening drives of the season. That's awfully good productivity.
On this drive, they picked up a 3rd and 7, a 3rd and 8, and a 3rd and 15. Schaub over the middle and a little bit behind Owen Daniels, his tight end.
Well, he had him open, and that's exactly right. That pass was behind Daniels. Again, take a look at Daniels. He's going to come in behind Kevin Walter, and he is wide open. And that was just a bad pass from Matt Schaub. He did not lead his guy.
Lardarius Webb is deep for the Ravens. He let this one go. It falls behind him and falls at the goal line.
What a punt.
And that'll be down inside the 5 by Garrett Graham. Terrific punt, 39 yards. The Ravens starting a hole after this. 9:55 to play in the first period here in Baltimore, and there is John Harbaugh in his 4th season as the head coach of the Ravens. And he sees his team starting from their own 3. The view is for Ray Rice, and Rice with a hole up the middle for about 6 yards make it. Meanwhile, in his 4th season, Joe Flacco is the Ravens quarterback and catching a little heat these days for his 49% completion percentage despite the 3-1 start. 7 touchdown passes, 3 interceptions. Second and 4. Flacco throws, and that is complete out to the 20-yard line, and across the 20 to the 20-23 is Anquan Boldin. Baltimore is big up front. Ben Grubbs misses his 4th straight game with a turf toe. The veteran Andre Gerard starts for him at left guard, and wide receiver Lee Evans misses his 3rd straight game. The rookie Torrey Smith, 2nd-round pick out of nearby Maryland, starts for him. There's Gerard.
Boy, I'll tell you, Flacco at 6'6", 250. He needed every bit of that strength, throwing that ball off his heels.
Flacco, this side of the field, this time. Incomplete across the 35 to the 36 to Torrey Smith. A look at Houston's 3-4 defense. Antonio Smith having a wonderful season, leads his team in sacks with 4 of them. The linebackers, Mario Williams out for the season. The rookie out of Arizona, Brooks Reed, makes his first NFL start. And in the secondary, cornerback Kareem Jackson has been battling a sore knee. He starts, but expect him to split time with Jason Allen.
59.
First down again, and whistles, and a false start. Our referee today is Gene Steratore.
False start. Offense, number 65. 5-yard penalty. First down.
That is Gerard.
Well, Gerard's only been here about 6 weeks. And again, Ben Grubbs is normally the starter there at left guard, but this is his 4th game with a turf toe. And there was a lot of, we thought there was a good chance that Grubbs was going to be able to go today. I know John Harbaugh was optimistic, but they tested him in pregame and just felt it just wasn't quite ready to real case of turf toe.
This is Rice across the 35 to about the 37-yard line.
Well, one thing Ray Rice has going for him this year is Vontae Leach. He's got a true fullback in front of him, and as John Harbaugh calls Leach, a road grader. There he comes, number 44, right into the hole. A good block right there, you can see.
He spent the last 4 years in a Houston Texans uniform.
Yep. Pretty angry with the Texans that they didn't give him a better contract offer, so he took his show to Baltimore. But he is, running backs love his blocking ability.
On 2nd and 9, wide open out of the backfield is Rice. Across midfield to the 46 of the Texans.
And I'll tell you, Ray Rice is the beneficiary of Vontae Leach running a clearing pattern from the wide receiver position. And he takes the corner with him. Clear down here at the left, you see by the time Daniel Manning is able to react back into it. But he went downfield with Leach. And you can see totally unblocked coming in as Connor Barwin. And Joe Flacco pays the price for that. But he knew he had an open guy in Rice. You think he means a lot to this team, Greg?
Drive started at the 3-yard line, is now in the Houston 46. Flacco.
Look out.
Steps up, throws, and that's complete to the 35-yard line, and Quan Bolden pulls it in. And that'll be another Baltimore first down.
Geez, at first it looked like Joe Flacco was going to get hit from behind. He's doing a play faking, and you see coming around the corner is Tim Jamison, and he loses his footing and goes to the ground. And Anquan Bolden, such a physical presence, not a real tall guy at 6'1", but he is built like a fullback. Well, that'll help improve your percentage. Open up a game going 4 for 4.
Most anything would help that percentage.
He likes the other percentage, but they're 3-1.
From the 34. Flacco goes down, lost the football. And it is ruled incomplete now by Gene Steratore.
Talk about a pocket disintegrating around a quarterback. Boy, does Joe Flacco take a hit. Look at the left side of your screen. Here comes Connor Barwin, and Bryant McKinney doesn't even get a hit on him. Talk about getting a soft corner. And Joe Flacco, and I tell you, that is an incomplete pass by definition only.
2nd and 10. This is Rice for a couple.
Well, it may have just been a couple, but that was a nifty little piece of shiftiness by Ray Rice to just buy himself a couple yards. Ray Rice, not the biggest guy at 5'8", but Wade Phillips knows coming in, if you can slow down Ray Rice, you have brought this offense almost to a halt. They are so dependent on Rice's both running and receiving ability.
Mike.
The Baltimore team now has Ricky Williams in the backfield. And that's Williams, number 34, in motion. Flacco under pressure, got rid of it in a hurry. Inside the 30 to about the 22 or 23-yard line, and a first down. Bolden once again on the catch.
Well, they better clean up their backside protection here, or Joe Flacco isn't going to see the end of the first quarter. Again, look to the right. Connor Barwin's coming in untouched. You can't be doing that to your quarterback. I mean, you got to put a guy on him. McKinney is down inside working with Andre Gerard, double teaming a defensive tackle and turning loose a pass rusher like Connor Barwin. Unacceptable.
10th play of this drive. From the 22. Flacco, quick pass to Rice. Rice, 15 to the 12. And right at the marker for another first down. Glover Quinn with the tackle.
Now this is a nicely designed play by Cam Cameron. It's just a quick screen and good blocking out front. Anquan Bolden, there's Bolden making the one key block right down there on Jonathan Joseph. Cam Cameron now his 4th year as the offensive coordinator here of the Ravens and one of the game's better play callers.
Just short of a first down. 2nd and 1.
That's not a good TD percentage. 2 out of 9.
Gives it to the back first through, and that's Vontae Leach, and that's a first down. It'll be 1st and goal for the Ravens, who have outscored their opponents 52-7 in the first quarter of games this year.
You know what just happened there? Vontae Leach carried the football. This is his 8th year in the National Football League. I think that's his 4th career carry.
His first of this season.
The guy never gets to touch the ball unless he's a receiver.
1st and goal. Flacco to throw. Alvin is blocked. That is complete. Toward the goal line is Ed Dixon, the tight end, and he is out of bounds at about the 1.
It seems strange being here in Baltimore and having a tight end catch a pass without the crowd going into their heap for Todd Heap. But Todd Heap is in Arizona, and Ed Dixon has really taken his spot. Ed Dixon is going to be a good player here for a ways to go. That's a good spot by the official. He was out beyond the pylon before he stretched that ball out.
Leach and Rice behind Flacco on 2nd and goal. Leach just short of the goal line.
Boy, talk about breaking tendencies, and here goes a flag.
And another one.
Andre Gerard is without a helmet.
Interesting to see just what it is that has set off Andre Gerard.
Well, Gene Steratore is trying to figure this out, talking. Not many referees in this business to equal Gene Steratore. He's a good one.
After the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense, number 94. The penalty is half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
The penalty is on defensive end Antonio Smith, number 94.
Well, there he is. You can see Smith and Gerard is just finishing his block. Andre Gerard put a heck of a block on Antonio Smith, and Antonio Smith didn't like it. Did not like it. That was a fine block by Gerard.
And number 92, Haloti Ngata, is in on offense for the Ravens. Talk about a road paver.
Yeah, he's at the left tight end position right over here.
Rice didn't get there.
Man, Vontae Leach had his chance, though. He was so close to getting a rushing touchdown. But that's a code buster there when you're making Leach a part of the running game. This was just a battle up front that was won by the Texans. You can see the offensive line of the Ravens got driven back.
Ngata still on the field. Second and goal.
He's still over. He's right here again over at that tight end position.
They're going to follow him back there.
Whoa! Boy, didn't that look like that was going to be an easy touchdown?
And we have another penalty marker flying in the end zone.
Boy, did that hole close in a hurry. Good, excellent surge, but that looked like Ray Rice was going to get in there. Is that Cushing? Cushing is right in. Yeah, Cushing 56.
After the play, personal foul, defense, number 94. Penalty is half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
Antonio Smith with another personal foul penalty, and it gives the Ravens another first and goal.
You know, that was Cushing coming in from the side, but Brooks Reed, the rookie who's playing for Mario Williams over at that weak linebacker spot, he's the guy that really made the stand-up tackle, but this is making things awfully easy for the Ravens. One penalty after another.
Flacco keeping it himself for the touchdown.
Well, when you have to cover about 1/2 a nano inch, a quarterback sneak is not a bad play.
A season-long 97-yard drive results in the first score of the day for the Baltimore Ravens.
You can't be any closer to the goal line than the Ravens were, and boy, they got a good surge right there up the middle. A good double team right there by Matt Burke and Marshall Yanda, and Gerard does a nice cutoff, and in they go.
Billy Cundiff for the extra point. And how's that for Matt Schaub? Comes in with a 49% completion percentage, goes 7 for 8 and scores the touchdown. Joe Flacco, excuse me.
The official beer sponsor of the NFL. Here we go.
Welcome back to Baltimore. On 197-yard drive, Joe Flacco's completion percentage for the season went up 2 percentage points from 49.3 to 51.3.
Well, that's the kind of scoring drive that coaches just dream about. Starting at your own 3-yard line, 16 plays, chew up all that clock, cover 97 yards. That's sweet.
Manning. Oh, watch this one say, holy smokes, all the way into the seats.
Shakes.
Meanwhile, what's going on here, Dan? And this looks like a fair fight, huh?
Man, I didn't know you were that tall. I think he's a wonderful actor.
I'll write him and tell him you said so.
That's no need. I'll handle it myself.
Hey, he probably knows it.
He knows he's a good actor, or he knows that I think he's a good actor.
That too. from their own 20 of the Texans. That's first down. Perry and Foster.
Well, we're watching the Texans here try to get this ground game going. And, you know, one of the things that's working against them is that guy, Andre Johnson, being in street clothes. Because his just being on the field always demands a safety over the top. And without Andre Johnson and that threat, every team the Texans are going to play with him in street clothes is going to be able to cheat their safeties closer to the line of scrimmage in support of the run game. It's going to be tougher and tougher to run the football.
On 2nd and 8, Foster will try it again. And only a couple. What were you saying, Dan, about how many yards Randy Moss was good for?
Well, I remember talking to Dennis Green one time when he was the head coach of the Vikings, and he said, I believe Randy Moss is worth 50 yards a game to our running attack, just by standing out there and running downfield. And Andre Johnson, we asked Gary Kubiak about it, and he said, no question about it. We asked Jim Harbaugh. He said, darn right, we'll squeeze the line of scrimmage without Andre.
Into the corner will come before they get the snap off here. We've played one here in Baltimore, and it is the Ravens 7 and the Texans nothing. And we'll come back to M&T Bank Stadium here in Baltimore right after this. You are watching the NFL on CBS. Back in Baltimore for the start of the second quarter. 7-0 Ravens, and a 3rd and 6 for Matt Schaub and the Houston Texans. Schaub and a catch made across the 35-yard line by Derek Mason.
Well, again, Derek Mason with 2 days of practicing, already a part of this. And he gets the raspberries from the crowd here, and I'm sure he doesn't mind.
Gee, not too much talked about him in the past week, has he?
No. The Jets were more than willing to part with Derek Mason. They actually traded him to the Texans for a conditional 7th-round pick.
This is Foster. And Foster to about the 40. Derek Mason just told us plain and simple yesterday he felt he was the scapegoat in New York for all the problems that are happening there.
Yeah, the Jets have they've got some issues flying around them, and Derek Mason, he was very emphatic in telling us, there was talk about a group of receivers went in to see Rex Ryan to complain about Brian Schottenheimer and his play calling, and Derek Mason told us, I did not go in to see Rex Ryan and talk about Schotty.
He also said, I can't speak for anybody else.
That's right. He said, but I did not.
Schaub running out of time and now running up the middle and sliding down at about the 42-yard line. Boy, was Nada held on the far side.
Well, I believe that to check it out, here's Haloti Nada. 3 guys. That's when you command a little respect. 2 tight ends. 2 tight ends and the right tackle, Eric Winston. Days of sneaking up on anybody by Haloti Nada are long gone.
3rd and 4. Ben Tate in the backfield. That one is complete over the middle, and out the midfield is Owen Daniels, the first down.
And that was a good tackle by Brendan Ayanbadejo. Owen Daniels is just one of those sneaky guys. He doesn't look like Tony Gonzalez. He doesn't look like Shannon Sharp. But I'm telling you, the guy's got skills, and he can run, but he's got soft hands. That wasn't bad coverage at all by Ayanbadejo. Good throw, good play.
2 tight ends now on first down as the Texans operate from midfield. Schaub to the near side of the field, and that is complete once again to Daniels. And that'll be a 5-yard gain to the Baltimore 45.
And like everybody who catches a football for the Texans, it's all about trying to pick up your game until Andre comes back, which might be sooner than everybody thinks. He's got a chance. I think it's a decent chance that he might play next week. Hard as that is to believe.
This is Foster. Wrapped up at the line of scrimmage. Ray Lewis leading the charge.
Well, and it's slow sledding for the Texans with the running game. They've gotten a couple loose, but by and large, there haven't been a lot of not some of the gaping holes that Arian Foster has seen earlier in the season. He's been converting. Matt Schaub. You don't normally do that for a whole game against the Raiders.
On 3rd and 5, and that one is just a bit underthrown on the near sideline, intended for Jacoby Jones, and that'll force the punt.
It almost looked like Matt Schaub thought that Jones was going to break his pattern off shorter. If he would have, though, it wouldn't have been enough yardage for the first down. That's a frustrated Matt Schaub right there.
Number 21 is Lardarius Webb. He is deep for the punt upcoming from Sam Cook. Or rather, excuse me, from Brett Hartman. Fair catch called for and made at about the 10-yard line. And that is where Baltimore will go to work on offense after this. You can get the edge you need to win your fantasy league. Interactive tools, award-winning player rankings, and expert chats throughout the week at cbssports.com/fantasy news.
We have seen some long drives in this game. This is the Ravens' second possession of the football game at the 11:07 mark of the second quarter.
And we get a late flag, false start on Dennis
False
Pitta.
start. Offense, number 88, 5-yard penalty, first down.
Boy, pre-snap penalties when you're at home and you're not dealing with crowd noise they will cause coaches to age. Yes, yes. Yep. Brooks Reed, the rookie, looking at him going, I must have scared him.
Meanwhile, Ricky Williams is in the backfield.
Wait.
First and 15. Flacco going to throw it far side of the field, and a nice defensive play made over there by Kareem Jackson on Torrey Smith, and we get a marker.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense, number 25, 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
So it wasn't that nice.
Well, yeah, Kareem Jackson, he's been fighting some knee problems. Let's take a look at this. Well, yeah, you could say it was a good, he got the shot in, and you're allowed to hit that receiver within that 5-yard zone, but you got to hit and separate. You can't just grab the jersey and hold on to it like Kareem Jackson did.
He may still have some purple jersey in his hand. So it's a new set of downs. First down, Baltimore. Flacco, short drop, and that one goes right past Pitta, the tight end.
Well, Dennis Pitta, the tight end, there's another guy that Joe Flacco and John Harbaugh are pleased with. A second-year guy. They think he's got a bright future. And again, I mentioned earlier that, you know, it's so strange here for Ravens fans after 10 years to no longer have Pro Bowl tight end Todd Heap working the yard here at M&T Stadium. It's a new era at the tight end position here with Baltimore.
On the blitz, Flacco going down at his own 2-yard line. Tim Jamison, number 96.
Well, Brian Cushing is the guy that came right up the middle. Wade Phillips says he dialed this one up, and Tim Jamison gets the sack. But watch from the left. Here comes Cushing right up the middle, and Joe Flacco has to try to evade him. And in doing so, he goes right into the arms of Tim Jamison. That was nicely timed by Cushing, the only Texans linebacker that stays on the field when they go to their dime defense. But he timed that blitz beautifully. He let the blockers lock up, then he came into the hole.
4th and 19. Flacco out of his own end zone, throwing this side of the field and overthrows Torrey Smith. And that'll bring the punting unit on. Dan, the amazing thing about that charge by Tim Jamison, he had to go around Bryant McKinney, which is no short trip.
No, that is like circling a small planet. Bryant McKinney is one of the largest men ever to play in the NFL. It's 6'8", 360, give or take a few dozen pounds.
Jacoby Jones deep for the punt. Jones at midfield. And out of bounds at about the 45-yard line of the Baltimore Ravens. Pretty good field position for the Houston Texans. 48-yard punt. And see, Dan, Mardi Gras can happen outside of the city limits of New Orleans, Louisiana.
They love their Ravens.
And their Texans, apparently.
Brave guy.
Good field position here for Matt Schaub and the Texans at the Baltimore 46. And Schaub to throw. On the run, threw it away. And we get a flag in the secondary. And also one closer to the line of scrimmage.
Prior to the pass, holding defense number 52, 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
So Ray Lewis guilty of the hold, and that'll give the Texans an automatic first down. As you look at some numbers today, Flacco still pretty good at 7 out of 10. What'd you make of that whole fuss? And there was a lot of angst here in Baltimore about that low completion percentage of Flacco.
Well, again, I'll say this, John Harbaugh stepped up, and he and Cam Cameron take some of the blame.
Then Tate with running room to the 30, to the 28.
And again, this is the kind of holes that this offensive line of the Texans has been creating earlier in the season with some regularity. You know, take a look at the stretch play. They stretched them out up front. They cut off the backside. You see Ray Lewis right there. Mike Brazel did a good job right there at getting on Lewis. And it's up to Ed Reed to finally be the guy that's able to come up and make the tackle.
Ben Tate had 116 yards rushing in the opener against Indy, followed it up with 108 at Miami. And on the far side of the field, Tate goes down at about the 27.
Well, Tate's been a little banged up, Greg. You mentioned what a great start he got off to. He had 82 against New Orleans, but then he's only had 20 yards total in the last 2 games as he's been battling some groin and Achilles problems.
Gary Kubiak said also don't be surprised to see Derek Ward in action today.
And he's missed the last 4 games. They finally got him back.
That's Green Daniels in motion. Schaub throwing out to the far side, complete to Foster out of the backfield, and Foster is out of bounds right at about the 25-yard line.
When you're on the road like the Texans are against a really good football team, like the Ravens are, and you get a chance to start a drive at the Baltimore 46-yard line, you have got to capitalize on it. You're already down by a touchdown. This is the kind of field position that you'll be lamenting for a long time if you don't capitalize and at least get a field goal out of it.
And Matt Schaub has been in the kind of third down situations you don't want to be in against the Baltimore defense. Here they come. Schaub throwing. That's complete to the 20-yard line. Kevin Walter looks like he'll be about a yard short of a first down.
I think he's a good somewhere between 2 and 4 feet. I think you're right.
Decision time for Gary Kubiak.
Well, they're going to go for it. They're going to go for it. And I like it. You're the underdog. You're on the road. You've got a really good offensive line. A great running back, the NFL's leading rusher.
Foster and Vickers in the backfield, and there is,
Did he lose the ball?
Looks like either way, Baltimore gets the football here.
He didn't come close to getting to first down yard. Didn't look to me like he ever crossed the 20.
Terrence Cody getting all the Kudos getting off the ground in the middle of the pileup, but the Texans fail to convert and the Ravens take over. 7:33 remaining here in the first half, and the Texans squander another opportunity as the Ravens take over at their own 20-yard line. And this is Rice for a couple. Let's go back to that last play, Dan.
Yeah, Terrence Cody is the guy in the middle of all this. Here he is right there, number 62. Watch right here, though, as he reaches out with his left hand and grabs the face mask of Arian Foster. Again, look at it. There he is right in the center of your screen. Look at his left hand. He's got Foster's face mask and pulls him backwards, and somehow the officiating crew missed that. That would have been an automatic first down for the Texans, but that one went unflagged.
2nd and 9. This is Rice again. And Rice to about the 24, and it'll be 3rd and 6. Brian Cushing in on the tackle. He came into this game the Texans' leading tackler with 36 of them on the season. We saw Brian with his family at dinner last night.
Yeah, they made the drive in from Jersey, and you know, he's made the adjustment going from an edge player on the outside to playing inside linebacker for Wade Phillips, and he's shown a lot of versatility, and he's really proud of the fact that he's the one guy that stays on first, second, and third down.
The 2009 NFL Rookie Defensive Player of the Year. 36. Flacco lost the ball.
I think the Texans got it.
They do have it. Looks like Tim Jamison down below.
He's got it.
Jamison with the hit and the fumble recovery.
Well, Tim Jamison, a backup defensive lineman, is really involved in things here in the first half of this game. He gets in there, he forces the fumble, and then he recovers it himself. Look at Jamison. He reaches out, grabs Joe Flacco. Flacco loses the ball. He goes 360 around the back of him and recovers it. Way to do it all, Tim Jamison.
Third-year defensive end out of Michigan.
I didn't know that.
And prime position now for the Texans at the Baltimore 17. Arian Foster to about the 12, maybe the 11-yard line.
Well, again, the Texans with outstanding field position inside the red zone where they've had problems this year. A field goal now is not acceptable. For the Texans in this situation, a field goal is not acceptable.
5-9.
Ben Tate now in the backfield on 2nd and 4. Tate.
Well, there's the alley.
To about the 6.
Well, you could see how this opens up. And I'm telling you, Eric Winston was talking. He calls this going out the back gate. But take a look right here. They're going to stretch him on the front side, but the alley then comes back to the back side. You stretch him in the front, you cut him off in the back. There is a great look at how that stretch play ends up going well to the other side of where it originally was intended.
Baltimore was lucky to cut that run as short as it was.
Yep.
1st and goal. Tate. Oh, secondary lost the football. Recovered in the end zone.
I think Wade Smith covered it up.
Touchdown.
It looked like Wade Smith, the left guard, was the guy that covered it.
And that is a Houston touchdown.
Again, you can see right there, Tate had nowhere to go but a wonderful second effort. But after that second effort, he gives it up. And how fortuitous that it really is, lying right there on the turf right in front of Wade Smith.
Rolling all out there for all the Ravens to see, and Wade Smith jumped on it.
How often do you see anybody get to a loose football before Ed Reed?
Rackers for the point to tie. And it's good. 4 minutes, 48 seconds to play. The Houston Texans turn a turnover into 7 points in a tie game.
State.
As we welcome you back to Baltimore, all of us on our CBS Sports crew join in with the fans and the management of the Baltimore Ravens in expressing our condolences and sympathies to Art Modell, the former Ravens owner, on the loss of his wife, Patricia. And Art Modell has been a long-time friend, Dan.
Absolutely, Greg, and had the pleasure of knowing the Modells for many years. Pat and Art married 42 years. Art, of course, the Cleveland Browns, and then moving the franchise here to Baltimore, and our condolences to the whole Modell family.
In her honor, they are wearing the letters PBM for Patricia Breslin Modell on their helmets. 7-7 game. Brian McCann is deep for Baltimore. And this one is fielded up close by Leach. And Leach back across the 30 to the 32-yard line. Gary Kubiak doesn't like that at all. Hey, you can follow the NFL while on the go. The NFL's mobile apps are all new for the 2011 season. To get the apps, go to NFL.com/mobile. From the 31-yard line, Flacco under pressure and had to get rid of it in a hurry before he was decked. Connor Barwin hit him, and that's nothing new today for Joe Flacco.
No, Joe Flacco has been getting pummeled. You know, normally we show these packages. It's the Baltimore defense hitting somebody else. Antonio Smith gets it started. There comes Connor Barwin. Smith again. Barwin again. Here comes Barwin unblocked from the backside. And Joe Flacco has been having a tough outing. Tim Jamison gets him there. Jamison forces the fumble and recovers it himself. And guess what? There's Connor Barwin again.
You get the feeling in the locker room Joe Flacco is going to say, can somebody please block Connor Barwin?
Well, when they worked that out in practice this week, Connor Barwin wasn't standing there, and now Joe's got to take a timeout.
4:38 to play in the second half. 7-7.
We're doing. That's the power of the Home Depot.
Joe Flacco has had himself a rough day in the pocket. We're looking now at 2nd and 10. Quick pass out to the far side to Rice. Rice can't elude that first tackler, Daniel Manning.
Well, what a much-needed, very quick pass for Joe Flacco to get the ball out to Ray Rice. And again, it kind of shows the flexibility that this Ravens offense has with Rice. It's kind of Marshall Faulk-esque, the way they can split him out at wide receiver. They can put him anywhere on the field, and Ray Rice is comfortable being there. But Joe needed a quick completion.
Now looking at a 3rd and 3. Quick pass, far side, complete, first down, Dennis Pitta. You know, we go back again to what we were talking about earlier about that completion percentage as there's a marker on the field. John Harbaugh chucked it up to everybody being very aggressive offensively.
Yeah, absolutely. And he mentioned, you know, Cameron and I, we were, you know, maybe a little aggressive in that Jets game. We were going downfield too much. We should have, you know, maybe settled for some shorter and more intermediate passing. But it is this is not a West Coast offense that they're running here in Baltimore. That is not Cam Cameron's style.
There is no foul for offensive pass interference. He's on the play as a first down.
So they'll pick the flag up and move the chains.
Well, Joe Flacco's 9 of 13 throwing the ball, and that's, you can see, nearly 70%. But he has paid a price for it.
Pulls it down, throws again, and that's complete inside the 45 to the 42-yard line. And by the way, it's worth mentioning that Joe Flacco wasn't the least bit bothered by that low number when we spoke with him.
I think Joe's got an inner confidence that's kind of tough to rattle. There's a nice tight spiral to Anquan Bolden down low, where Bolden's the only guy that's got to play on it. That's one of those where Bolden caught that basically out of self-defense. Either catch that ball or it's going to hurt you, one or the other.
Bolden 4 catches for 51 yards, and that one up the seam is incomplete, intended for Dennis Pitta, and once again, Flacco was under the gun, courtesy of Connor Barwin.
Well, Wade Phillips is finding ways that he's stressing this Baltimore pass protection system. And he's getting free runners at Joe Flacco more often than not. And again, it's more often than not, it's that guy, number 98, Connor Barwin. He plays the strong side linebacker opposite the recently departed Mario Williams.
Those are big shoes to fill.
Well, yeah. Of course, Barwin's so happy to be back playing. He missed all of last year, broken ankle in the opening game against the Colts.
On 2nd and 10, little pop over the middle. That's complete to Rice. Rice with lots of yardage to the 25, to the 24, and a first down.
Oh, what a nice play. You get the ball to Ray Rice in a hurry, and then he's got a built-in blocker right there in Dennis Pitta. Take a look at this now. You know, Flacco's looking right there, but he's got Pitta right behind him, who's in a position to go ahead and make the block on Daniel Manning, the safety. Now that is a nicely designed play.
And it results in a first down for the Ravens now at the Houston 24. Flacco going for it all. End zone, it is incomplete. Intended for Torrey Smith.
Well, great effort by Torrey Smith. A tremendous effort by Torrey Smith, but the ball, there's just not enough end zones. And, you know, working against Bryce McCain, and McCain knew where he was on the football field. He knew that there's no way that could result in a completion. But it was close. That was some effort.
That is a great catch on a pass.
This Torrey Smith, this rookie, Greg, is going to end up being some kind of player. The Ravens are in love with him.
2nd and 10, take the pass, give it to Rice, and he is brought down at the 26 by Antonio Smith. Says it was a little bit of an illegality, and the officials don't agree.
Well, there's no question that Antonio Smith tackles him around the neck area, but nothing wrong with that if you don't grab the face mask or do a horse collar. Let's take a look at it. No, that's a perfectly legal tackle. He's got his hands on the shoulder pad.
2-minute warning here in Baltimore. We're tied at 7. Two minutes to play here in the first half. Houston with all 3 of their timeouts remaining. Baltimore with 2. And a 3rd and 11 facing Flacco. Flacco throwing it. Incomplete. Intended for Pitta.
And boy, is Wade Phillips being aggressive. Again, another blitz off both edges.
Just a reminder, coming up, the Spread Halftime Report. JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and the coach will have all the latest NFL scores and highlights coming up on the Spread Halftime Report. And I'm sure he'll point out that the Green Bay Packers stand alone among the undefeateds in the National Football League.
Jim Harbaugh of the 49ers, John's brother, the early leader for Coach of the Year.
Billy Cundiff looking for a season-long 43-yard field goal, and this looks pretty good. "43 yards out. Cundiff gives the Ravens a 3-point lead. Matt Schaub will have 1 minute and 50 seconds and 3 timeouts to work with. As we welcome you back to Baltimore. No football weather yet, is there?
No, actually, if it wasn't for being a little breezy, and even that it's not too bad, this is a perfect day to play football. The stadium here in downtown Baltimore and the Inner Harbor, just a picturesque setting. Camden Yards next door. This is quite a sports complex.
Daniel Manning deep for the Houston Texans.
Now let's see what Mr. Touchback does with this one. Going the other direction.
The other direction, right?
Kicked it into the stands the opposite way.
Isn't too bad either. No turf toe there. The action earlier today has produced these standings in the AFC North. Baltimore sitting atop, Cincinnati and Pittsburgh at 4 and 2, and Cleveland at 2 and 2.
And Cleveland's playing the Raiders right now. Yeah, that is a tough division. You know, you scan through most of the divisions, and there's maybe an 0 or a 1 and something or what. That could be a division with all winning teams by the end of the day.
The Baltimore Ravens travel to Jacksonville next week. Schaub, that pass is complete, close to the 30-yard line. Kevin Walter will make it to 29. It'll be about a yard short of a first down.
Kevin Walter's a good, steady guy, and a big guy, too, at 6'3". Nice target.
5 catches for 81 yards and a touchdown a week ago in the loss to Oakland. Penalty marker. Whistles. False start.
False start. Offense, number 73. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
Eric Winston, the right tackle, just a little lean back.
What a pleasure it was to chat with him yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, nice fellow. You know, he and Chris Myers, the center, were teammates at the University of Miami. And even for a brief period of time, for 1 year, a teammate of Andre Johnson. He was a junior when Winston was a freshman.
No lack of Miami Hurricanes in the NFL. Schaub running out of time and goes down at the 18.
Well, this is a coverage sack because Matt has time to look downfield, and he was going to throw it. He had a target, and then he gave himself up. And that's a smart quarterback. Don't make a mistake. Now, if Baltimore they don't convert here, they're going to have some time and 2 timeouts left.
Houston taking as much time off the clock as they can. Play clock at 5 to 4 to 3, and we'll call a timeout. So that's their first timeout used here in the second half, and it comes with 43 seconds to play in the first. Back in Baltimore, Matt Schaub and the Texans looking at a 3rd and 12. Each team now with 2 timeouts remaining, and Joe Flacco hoping to get another shot at the scoreboard before time expires here in the first half.
Houston's been 5 of 8 on 3rd down so far, which is very good.
Schaub, quick pass this side and right through the hands of Arian Foster, and that's the second one that he's dropped today.
Yep, and it stops the clock as well. And again, that's just a great throw. It's a perfect throw by Matt Schaub. I mean, it's right there. Walter's out front, ready to block. There comes Eric Winston. That was going to be a nice pickup for Foster.
Ed Reed is back for the punt.
Well, when you need a big play, put your playmaker in there to do it.
Fair catch called for and made at the 40-yard line, and not enough contact to draw a flag there. While we have a moment, a reminder, tonight on CBS, this former NFL star can run the field, but can he dive the depths? A new amazing race in Thailand tonight only. CBS. Note that former NFL star is not Dan Buell.
No, it is not.
Marcus Palmer.
If I was on that show, the word race wouldn't be used. It would be the amazing crawl, the amazing slow. There would be no speed involved.
I would be at the airport looking for the next flight home. 31 seconds left. Flacco from his own 39. Down the middle and wide open, and he missed his man. It's picked off by Jonathan Joseph. Jonathan Joseph with his 3rd interception, and Flacco missed a wide open receiver.
Well, it was Ed Dixon, his tight end, and somehow that ball just got away from Joe. I mean, it just had way too much air underneath it. You're going to look at it, you see what Joe sees. He's not pressured at all, but the ball just really sails on him. And Dixon at 6'4" still couldn't get up and do anything except deflect it and tip it. There you look at Anquan Bolden running a clearing pattern, and a pretty nice job there by Jonathan Joseph of extending, going down for that ball and keeping it off the ground.
So now 21 seconds remain. Schaub steps up, throws over the middle, and he's got his man across midfield. Jacoby Jones pulls it in at the 45.
And Schaub burns a timeout right there.
That's Neil Rackers hoping to get a shot at a field goal that would tie this game. His career long is 57. His season long is 54.
And he's probably trying to figure out what direction it's moving as it's really swirling in there.
Penalty markers. This play doesn't count. False start.
False start. Offense, number 85, 5-yard penalty, first down.
That's Joel Dreesen. And it'll back the Texans up to midfield.
Well, they've got one timeout left, so they have the entire field at their disposal.
Hey, Roy!
They don't have to just work the sideline.
A screen for Foster. Foster inside the 45 to the 42, and a timeout stops the clock with 8 seconds remaining.
Charge timeout. Houston, a 30-second timeout.
Well, you'd be looking at what, about a 60-yarder for Rackers? We were talking about the wind swirling and coming from different directions. We were watching the guys in pregame warm-ups. Here's Cundiff. Take a look at what this football does about halfway there. Whoop. As it heads off, you can see the abrupt movement.
I believe in the baseball playoff, that's known as a cut fastball.
Yes. And I don't think that a 60-yarder is much of an option right here. Now, you could run a quick out in 8 seconds, hoping your guy gets out of bounds and maybe, shorten the kick by, 8 or 10 yards.
Remember, Houston with no timeouts remaining. Schaub throwing it away. 3 seconds on the clock.
And that was just a throwaway by Matt Schaub. He certainly couldn't make any completion in the field of play. They have no chance to get up and spike it in time. Now you either try to launch one all the way down to the end zone or do a hook and ladder, do something 10, 15 yards,
something
lateral.
Something creative.
Yeah, the Stanford band, whatever.
And looks like Baltimore will take a timeout. So Baltimore has 1 timeout remaining. They'll take a break, and we'll remind you, the Spread Halftime Report coming from New York. James Brown, Dan Marino, Shannon Sharp, Boomer Esiason, and Coach Bill Cowher will have the very latest in NFL scores and highlights coming up on the Sprint Halftime Report.
That's a smart timeout by the Ravens. This is the kind of play that, granted, very often doesn't result in much of anything, but we've seen it a few times. Remember Jacksonville last year? They certainly know all about it, but make sure that your guys are right where you want them to be. And the adjustment they made last time, only Ed Reed was deep. Now the Ravens have 3 guys at the goal line.
That's playing deep.
Yeah. And check this out for pass rushing. As in one person. Suggs.
Schaub to the end zone. Incomplete.
That's something you don't see every day. Haloti Ngata was playing spy, and Terrell Suggs was having to rush Matt Schaub all by himself. Talk about it's me against the world.
Kevin Walter is down there. So is 85 Joel Dreesen. So is 82 Derek Mason. That's the end of the first half. It's a 10-7 Baltimore lead. Back with the Spread Halftime Report after this message and a word from your local station.
Car insurance.
goes down at the 41. Ray Lewis. Oh, second effort, lost the football, recovered in the end zone, touchdown. Back in Baltimore, there is our halftime score. The Ravens leading the Houston Texans by a score of 10-7. Time now to take a look at the NFL mobile recap presented by Verizon. Dan?
Well, it's a lot happening on this play. Great effort there by Tate, but he gets hit by Pollard, fumbles ball into his end zone, and man, a teammate comes in for the save. Wade Smith, the left guard, covers up the ball, and that is a Houston touchdown. This hasn't been the prettiest game, Greg, but it has been hard hitting.
It has been less of a shootout than we expected coming in, that's for sure.
Yes, a shootout this has not been, and both quarterbacks have taken their fair share of hits. Joe Flacco maybe way more than his.
To about the 20 and about the 22-yard line as we welcome you back, Greg Gumbel, along with Dan Beardorf. It never ceases to amaze me. As much as you try to prepare for a game, a lot of times it doesn't go anywhere near what you expected it to be.
Well, you wondered how this Texans defense would respond without Mario Williams that they lost last week. And for 30 minutes, Wade Phillips has to be really pleased with the way his group has played. They brought great pressure. They have played hard. They've tackled well. And again, they're missing their best player, but they're playing with heart and spirit.
Connor Barwin, one of those who has certainly stepped up here in the first half. This is Ray Rice, and Rice breaks it to the outside, has a first down, and then some. We have a penalty marker down at the 40.
Which means it wasn't back at the line of scrimmage.
Again, Gene Steratore is our referee today.
And the Ravens have had a tough time getting Rice loose in the running game. Averaged 2 yards a carry in the first half. Still haven't figured this out.
There's no foul for face mask. It was a grab and let go and not a grab and twist. The result of the play is a first down Baltimore.
That's a lot of grabbing on one play.
Well, let's see, there's the grab, but then they let it go. And that, the NFL has tweaked the face mask rule. If you don't grab, you can have incidental contact, I guess is a good way to describe it, on the face mask, as long as Gene Steratore said, you don't grab it, pull it, and twist it.
16 yards rushing in the first half for Ray Rice. He had 18 on that one. A Flacco throw. Running out of time. And tossed it over the middle. There's Rice.
Well, how's that for a catch by Ray Rice, huh? And what a job by Joe Flacco. He's doing a Ben Roethlisberger imitation there of being hauled to the ground and strong enough to stay up and get rid of the football. You can see Reed has a hold of him, the rookie, and he flips it. What a great catch. That ball is away from Ray Rice. He snatches it out of the air with his left hand and heads upfield. Joe is surveying the field, and at the last second, he actually gets twisted in that direction and sees Rice.
Flacco complete. And that's Bolden. And Bolden with a first down to about the 36. 12 yards.
Well, and Anquan Bolden has always been a possession receiver, and he doesn't have a lot of receptions. He only had 15 coming into this game. Keep in mind, this is a guy that twice in his career has had over 100 receptions in a season when he was out in Arizona. The guy is durable, and he's a physical receiver.
He's chalked up 5 today, 63 yards. Back to the ground game, and Rice left side. Dragged down from behind by number 95, Sean Cody.
These Texans up front have really embraced this new look that Wade Phillips has brought. They were a traditional even team, and what that means is the center uncovered. But they've gone to an odd look. It's a 3-4, but in reality, they play it like a 4-man line because that weak side linebacker almost comes every time like a defensive end. But they have responded, they have embraced it, and they're eating it up.
On 2nd and 9, Rice with running room to the 30. Ray Rice is only listed at 5'8", 212, and he hits a hole as quickly as anyone.
Well, he's just so gifted in a lot of different directions. There's McKinney working on Reed, a good block there by Gerard at left guard. Matt Burke, as he's been doing for 14 years, another nice block at center. This is Rice gets a blow, but he is the Baltimore offense.
Ricky Williams replaces him in the backfield. On 3rd and 4. Flacco on the slant to it behind Laquan Williams, the rookie out of Maryland. You know, we were talking with Ray Rice about how that works between he and Ricky Williams, and they just communicate with each other.
They did. Ray Rice actually says, you know, I want Ricky to stay in the game. I want him to I don't want to look over at him on the sidelines and realize that he's gotten cold. He deserves a chance to, to stay, warmed up, stay in the moment, stay in the game.
Billy Cundiff going to try this one from 48 yards out. On the way. It looks good. Plenty of room to spare. 11:46 to play in the 3rd. And the Ravens extend their lead to 13-7. That would be the only Raven in the stadium without a jersey. Unfortunately, there's a jersey. Billy Cundiff to kick it away. And Daniel Manning is deep for the Houston Texans.
Well, where will this land? Way back there.
Nowhere near Daniel Manning. Out of the end zone, Houston will start at their own 20-yard line, and while we have a moment, we talk a lot about record-breaking performances. Here's one for you. For the first time in television history, one network has 20 of the top 30 shows so far this season. Only CBS.
Well, that's something to be proud of. Congratulations to Leslie Moonves and the whole group.
First down for Schaub and the Texans from the 20. Schaub got his man. That's Kevin Walter, and Walter to the 40-yard line. Here's what happened with Houston in the first half.
Well, they got some nice drives there. Take a look at that 12-play drive, a 9-play drive. Unfortunately, when you look to the right, they both ended up in punts. And one scoring drive there. And keep in mind, that was after a Raven turnover. And the only way they got a touchdown was recovering a fumble in the end zone.
Ed Reed is very deep in the secondary. And Schaub pulls it down, then throws out to the side. This is Foster. Holds on here and out of bounds at about the 45-yard line. Make it the 44.
That was all made possible by tremendous pass protection by the Texans up front. Matt Schaub had forever before he checked all the way down to Arian Foster.
How many times have we hear the Texans tell us, Dan, that Ed Reed is such an instinctive player and unpredictable, and we just saw him drop 35 yards off the line of scrimmage.
Well, to a man, they say when he is covering someone, it doesn't look like he's covering them.
This has been tape.
You know, that sounds confusing, Greg, when you say it, but he really has the ability to look like he's just wandering around aimlessly, but he really does have coverage responsibilities on someone, but he baits the quarterback into thinking that the guy's open. And then he makes the break on the ball, and almost to every offensive coach in the league will just tell you that Ed Reed is probably the smartest, most instinctive safety they've ever seen.
Matt Schaub says, I think he's the best ball hawker in the game. On 2nd and 8. This is tape. To about the 37. That'll be about 3 yards short of a first down. You know, as we saw that list of possessions for the Houston Texans, I think now we're still trying to get a feel as to what this Houston Texans team is like this season, Dan.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I like the way they compete without Andre Johnson, without Mario Williams. There's no feeling sorry for themselves. They're not holding a pity party. They're playing hard football on the road against a really good Ravens team.
3rd and 3. Schaub running out of time. Throws complete. First down to Jacoby Jones.
And there is the great Andre Johnson, who just injured his hamstring, had a very minor surgical procedure done on it. Let's look at the end of this play and see how it finishes up for Matt Schaub as he runs up towards the line of scrimmage. You see coming in from behind and falling on his ankle was Suggs.
Play fake Foster. Schaub rolls, throws, deep. It is caught for a touchdown. Jacoby Jones.
And on Ed Reed, no less. And Matt Schaub, he is a little tender. He's not exactly high-stepping it over to the Houston sideline, but he comes on a rollout. Again, made possible because of the play action. But this is the matchup they wanted. Ed Reed in a trailing position. Ed gave Jones way too much room. I mean, take a look at this. When you see a DB and he has to spin all the way around, he's beaten. When you see a defensive back like Ed Reed had to do, where he had to rotate and do a complete spin, in the time it takes to do that, you are beaten.
The extra point is good. Matt Schaub goes 4 for 4 for 73 yards on the drive and lets Jacoby Jones dance in the end zone. 8:36 to play in the third, and Houston grabs a 1-point lead.
See Sierra. This truck month, there is no better time to trade up to the best Sierra.
Here is Jacoby Jones right here, who's going to go off. But I want you to watch this tight end as he comes across the middle and watch the coverage that he draws from the Ravens. Take a look. This is Owen Daniels. And guys, if you'll freeze it right there, 4 Ravens are all on Daniels, and Ed Reed is all by himself back in the deep secondary with Jacoby Jones. I can't believe that that's the way that Chuck Pagano drew it up. I got to think that maybe Bernard Pollard, the other safety, was supposed to stay deep and give Ed Reed some
Pressure and delivered a strike to Jones. Brian McCann going to run it out of the end zone for about 6 yards deep. Tripped up at the 15, falls forward to about the 18-yard line. Dominique Barber with the tackle. This is the touchdown that put Houston on top. It's the Texans by 1. 8.5 to play in the third. A nice look at dusk here in Baltimore. 8:31 to play in the third. This is Ray Rice. And an oddity here, Houston Texans leading in the second half.
Well, yes, they are leading. The question is, will they be leading at the end of 60 minutes? Because take a look at this. Talk about a tale of two halves. The way they play in the first half, total domination. And then in the second half for Gary Kubiak's club, unfortunately, it's been the other, as they are nearly minus 30 points. And everyone in Houston wants to know, once again, can this team play a 60-minute game and finish it off?
Flacco, quick pass outside, complete to Pitta. And Pitta out of bounds at the 22-yard line. These Houston Texans have never beaten the Baltimore Ravens.
No.
They're 0 for 4.
And, you know, they got a couple franchises they've never beaten. They're 0-5 against the Jets. They're 0-4 against the Chargers. And they're not very good on the road recently. They're like 1-7 their last 8 road games. So there's a lot at stake here for the guys from Texas.
Third and 8.
Long, take it down.
And a whistle.
Delay game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Third down.
And that'll back the Ravens up 5 yards more as we look at the standings in the AFC South.
Well, I think that before the injuries to Andre Johnson and Mario Williams, I think most people thought that Houston was the team to beat in this division, with Peyton Manning, of course, out for the Colts. And they're, in my mind, I still think they're the favorite to win the division. And that was an unfortunate delay of game penalty, an unforced error on the Ravens.
3rd and 12, penalty mark.
Texans offside.
And that is complete across the 35-yard line to Torrey Smith.
I think Connor Barwin got sucked in on the hard count by Flacco. He was in the neutral zone.
Connor Barwin has just had too good a time hitting the quarterback.
Defense, number 98. Penalty is declined. Result of the play is a first down.
Good job by Joe Flacco of mixing up the snap count. And his voice inflection got Barwin to lean and fall into the neutral zone before he ended up being absorbed by Bryant McKinney.
19-yard pickup on the play, and Connor Barwin going up against Bryant McKinney. Listed at 6'8", 360.
Hey, he's been rejuvenated a little bit after a disappointing last couple of years in Minnesota.
Flacco going deep. Got his man inside the 15-yard line. Torrey Smith.
Well, I'll tell you one thing that you got to like about the young receiver. What a nice adjustment he makes on the ball. Because Flacco throws this to the inside, and watch Torrey Smith have to adjust to the ball. You see him have to break his pattern a little bit and come back to the inside. And he had gotten over the top of Daniel Manning, number 38, the safety. Kareem Jackson's the corner. He's counting on some safety help deep. He didn't get it. And that's what speed will do to you. But Torrey Smith showed a little more than just speed there.
50-yard pickup. This is Rice. And Rice inside the 10 to about the 7.
But that was really a nice job of adjusting to the ball by Torrey Smith. And now you know why John Harbaugh raves about this kid.
Flacco and the Ravens looking at 2nd and 4. Throws to the far side. And that'll go to about the 5. Anquan Bolden had to pick that one off the turf.
Let's go back one more time. Here's Torrey Smith right here. But here's Manning, the safety, and he's going to get drawn up inside. And Torrey Smith is going to get past him pretty quickly. You can see right there that Manning is in no position to come back, and there's no way that Kareem Jackson can run that much of the football field and keep up with Torrey Smith. I mean, we're talking about a guy that's got legit 4.3 speed.
Flacco, a perfect 4 for 4 throwing on this drive. 3rd and 2. Rice won't get it.
Not even close.
And that will bring on Billy Cundiff and the rest of the field goal unit.
And coaches hate being all the way down inside like that, not being able to convert. But this is a good front 7 for the Texans. This is as good a group as the Ravens are going to see all year.
Number 1 in the NFL in red zone defense coming into this game. Cundiff from 25 yards. It's good. 3.5 minutes to play. 3rd quarter.
Tears in theaters Friday.
Three and a half minutes to play in the 3rd quarter. There is the Baltimore scoring drive. Joe Flacco was 4 out of 4 for 75 yards on the preceding scoring drive for Houston. Matt Schaub was 4 out of 4 for 73 yards. And Billy Cundiff has not given the Texans a chance to establish much field position with his kickoffs, and there's another one. So Matt Schaub back to work on offense when we come back to Baltimore. Baltimore fans getting a little noisy, as they are known to do now and again. Schaub from the 20, gonna put it in the air. No, he won't.
Jarrett Johnson. What a rush. Coming from the left end position, standing up. He just powers his way back to Matt Schaub. There he is right here at the bottom. And you've got Joel Dreesen, the tight end, trying to block him, and he's beat from the very beginning. As soon as Johnson gets that inside shoulder, it's over. You either hold him, which Dreesen did and didn't get called for, or you give up the sack, in which case Dreesen did both.
2nd and 16. Schaub over the middle. Oh, what a strike he threw across the 30 to the 32-yard line, and Jacoby Jones made the catch. That's good for 18 yards and a first down.
And that is the kind of reception the Texans fans have been looking for out of Jacoby Jones. Not just streaking up a sideline. You know there's a big hit waiting for you at the other end of a catch like that. He went down and got it.
By the way, nothing wrong with Matt Schaub's throwing shoulder on that one. This is Tate. Dragged down by Jarrett Johnson.
Well, I'll say this about Matt Schaub and the Texans. They have converted some 3rd and longs in this game. Normally, he who makes a steady habit of trying to do that pays a big price against this Ravens D.
That's a new hee-hoo.
What's it? I'm quoting the Raven.
The Raven. The Raven says hee-hoo. 2nd and 9. Schaub throws it out here and underthrows Joel Dreesen. 3rd and 9.
Well, Matt Schaub was dealing with a disintegrating pocket there.
And here come the fans.
Yeah, good pressure by the front group of the Ravens. Derek Mason, when we were talking to him, said, look, if you can control 55 to 92, you have a chance. Referring to Terrell Suggs and Haloti Ngata.
Schaub needs the 42 for a first down. Screen far side, incomplete. Bounced off of Jones.
Well, that actually looked like the Ravens might have been in Houston's huddle. That play had no chance. That was that play didn't have one chance on 100 of developing into anything. Nice work by the Ravens.
This will send Ladarius Webb deep at his own 25. This one takes a bounce sideways out of bounds between the 30 and the 35-yard line, and that's pretty decent field position for the Ravens. Tonight on CBS, he's been covering Afghanistan for 10 years, but what Scott Pelley reports on 60 Minutes may change the way you see the war. Tonight, only CBS.
Well, that's a frustrating series for the Texans. Matt Schaub has been under duress a lot today. So is Joe Flacco.
Ricky Williams in the backfield. Nice block he throws. Flacco lets it go deep for Bowman, and he caught it!
Jonathan Joseph has got the coverage on Anquan Boldin and just missed times going up for the football. Look, he's grabbing him, he's got a hand on him, he's holding him, but he missed times his jump. He's almost on his way back down by the time the football gets there. And Anquan Boldin with fantastic concentration. And how about the quality of this throw? Antonio Smith comes in, another big hit on Flacco, but that throw on a scale of 10 was a 10.
And Baltimore calls a timeout, uses its first of the second half.
You can't throw a deep pass any better than Joe Flacco just threw that one.
Ricky Williams, I believe, threw that block on Antonio Smith, and Smith got up
back
and put the pressure on Flacco.
Yeah, Ricky Williams is right here in the backfield. Watch the block he's going to put on Antonio Smith, and then talk about a guy who doesn't quit. He cuts him, down goes Smith, back up, keeps driving, and the key, even though he was scrambling, he got back up and hit Flacco above the waist. But you know what's really critical here, you're not allowed to hit a quarterback down around the knees anymore. Smith gets up and hits Flacco above the waist. Smart football by Antonio Smith. And Ricky Williams still got a little something left.
On 1st and goal, this is Rice. And Rice, nowhere to go on the far side of the field, gets wrapped up and thrown to the ground by Brian Cushing. And a little post-whistle activity.
Michael Orr right in there. And, these guys will come to the aid of Ray Rice. And that's what the big guys are supposed to do. And Ray Rice is one of those guys. He's, mostly it's defenders talking to running backs. Ray Rice is not afraid to give it back. He's got an opinion, and he'll share it with anybody.
With that, the third quarter winds down. And you know what? Feels like we're just getting started between the Ravens and the Texans. 16-14 Baltimore. That's the end of 3. Back to Baltimore after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Mark Wolf, our director, Bob Fishman, Greg Gumbel, Dan Deerdorf, and the rest of our CBS Sports crew in Baltimore, where the Ravens are used to being on the good side of the turnover differential. Not so today, but they have a 2-point lead on the scoreboard as we start the 4th.
Money! Money! Monday!
Second and goal from the 15. Flacco throwing to the far side of the field, incomplete. Intended for Vontae Leach out of the backfield. It'll be 3rd and goal. And Brian Cushing looked like he had that snap count down to perfection.
He did get off pretty well, and D'Amico Ryans that time pretty good coverage out there on Leach. Former teammates for years. Vontae Leach has a lot of friends in that Houston group. They were very fond of him. He was a leader on that team.
Big 3rd and goal here. Flacco on the move. Under pressure. Incomplete.
And that's a big dose of credit goes to the Houston secondary, because Joe Flacco had time and a lot of it to try to find somebody open, and he couldn't find anybody. That's not to say that nobody was open, but he certainly couldn't seem to locate anybody. Yeah, there to the backside, you could see his tight end Pitta. Yeah, but keep in mind, Flacco had scrambled to his right. You got to look through a lot of big bodies to see a guy diagonally all the way across the field.
Cundiff from 33 yards, and he got it through. Another 3 on the board for Baltimore. 19-14 Ravens.
You're watching the NFL on CBS.
When the Baltimore offense has stalled, Billy Cundiff has been there. 5th time in his career with 4 or more field goals in a game.
Greg, hard to believe a guy with his talent was completely out of the game for 2 years after 5 years in the league.
And important for the Texans to remember, they are still very much in this game. 5 points down. Plenty of time remaining. Daniel Manning deep. And again, will not get a chance to run it back. Cundiff has done a terrific job on kickoffs. A reminder, next Sunday, the NFL on CBS features another big day of regional action. Phillip Rivers and the Chargers against Mark Sanchez and the Jets. A bit later on, Dan and I will be in the land of the cactus and sand and Gila monsters and scorpions.
Well, I hope none of them are in the stadium when we're there. The NFL today kicks it all off.
Presented by Southwest Airlines. First down for Schaub and the Texans. This is Foster. And Foster up to about the 22, where Terrence Cody helps make the stop.
You know, prior to that run, Arian Foster's been averaging 4 yards a carry. But again, this has been the case more often than not, where there really just hasn't been a whole lot there. There's been a couple big holes, but a lot of times, nothing really to find a crease and get upfield.
Ball is placed at the 23 at 2nd and 7. Schaub. Little short pop over the middle, and this is Foster. First down yardage and then some, and he's out of bounds just shy of the 40-yard line. It'll be a first down, Houston at their own 38.
Well, Arian Foster really is a good receiving back. He's got good hands. He had a couple drops in the first half. Could have been big plays for the Texans, and it's nice that he's able to come in and get that reception and maybe restore a little confidence both in himself and in his quarterback.
This is Foster. Nothing doing there. Time for an NFL Today update from New York City. JB and Dan Marino. Guys.
Greg and Dan. 9 left in regulation. Back to Greg Gumbel and Dan Deardorff.
You know, he said trickery bag. I thought he was flashing back to New Orleans Times and said chicory bag.
You know, when it's Janikowski, why wouldn't you think he's going to kick it anyway?
2nd and 9. Shot. Incomplete. And a penalty marker. Jones was trying to fight off Ladarius Webb.
Yeah, and Webb is pleading his case. And I think we always know how that works out.
Prior to the pass, holding defense number 21. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
There they are, Jones and Webb. Well, you could see Jones tried, he did the inside slant, and then he wanted to go back to the corner. As he adjusted his route, Webb reached out and grabbed him and turned him a little bit. When you see his body move, the crowd just saw a replay of it. They're unhappy about it, but when you see a guy and he puts out his arm and then it turns the receiver's body, that's just too easy for the official to call.
This has been Tate. Tate with running room right side, across midfield and into Baltimore territory at the 49.
Keep in mind, everybody, there's no contact after 5 yards. All right, so that's out the window right now. So here's the little slant. Now back outside. Both hands. I know he got him out of there in a hurry, but you can't wrap your arms around a guy, no matter how briefly.
And it's never good when the defender starts to plead his case before the penalty marker even flies.
Yeah.
2nd and 3. Foster. Penalty markers are down. Foster is inside the 40, and that'll be first down yardage, depending on the penalty.
Well, it looked like there was movement inside.
Offside. Defense, number 95. Penalty is declined. Result of the play, first down.
Jarrett Johnson is the defender who jumped. They'll decline that penalty, and it'll be a Houston first down at the Baltimore 39.
Oh, right there, that's not Jarrett
No,
Johnson. No, that looks like Brandon McKinney was actually the guy in the middle that ended up in the neutral zone.
On first down, this is Foster trying the left side and slipped again on his cut.
Well, he tried to make a real jump cut there. That was a little bit sooner than he wanted to try to make a move.
Remember Ray Lewis was saying there are very few guys as good as Arian Foster in the league planting that foot and going.
Well, and the thing of it is that when he makes a decision to go, and you can see he just gets his right leg way too far over to the side. He didn't lose any yardage. He got back. Granted, nothing big happened.
Schaub to throw.
Look out.
Got rid of it just as he was being hit.
I think Jarrett Johnson was coming in from the backside.
Along with Haloti Ngata.
And that is, anytime Haloti Ngata is part of the equation. you can see that it's actually Schaub that runs right into Haloti Ngata. He was forced to step up because of the pressure from Johnson.
3rd and 9. And Schaub wants timeout.
First choice timeout, Houston.
11:08 to play in the 4th.
By Immortals on 11-11-11. Experience it in epic 3D.
They're a little fired up here in Baltimore.
And Houston's been in way too many of these 3rd and long.
Schaub, quick slant. Ball's loose, incomplete. Foster couldn't hold it.
Bernard Pollard was the guy that stripped it out of there. And we've got an injured Texan back up in midfield.
That is Dwayne Brown, the left tackle.
All right, it's an overload blitz to the one side, and Schaub puts it right there. But Pollard comes in, and he just strips it away from Arian Foster. You know, and Bernard Pollard is more of a run support safety, not a great cover guy, but you sure can't tell it from that.
Ladarius Webb is deep. And this one will float into the end zone for the touchback. Just under 11 minutes to play in regulation. Baltimore by 5. Ed Reed and the Baltimore defense get a breather. The offense takes over.
Well, they deserve a breather.
This is Rice. Rice for about 8 or 9.
Well, and boy, would they like to string out about 4 or 5 of those in a row. Move some chains, run some clock.
Some numbers on the day. Flacco, 18 of 29, started the day with a completion percentage of 49.3. It's up to 51.4 for the season.
And as you can see, nobody is able to run the ball overly effectively against each other's defense. And Anquan Bolden, 121 yards on 7 receptions. He's stepped up.
2nd and 1. Rice looking for the first down. Gets it and more. To the 42. And John Harbaugh doing a little fist pump on the sideline.
Well, nothing's better for a football coach and a football team than to have the lead and be able to run the football in the 4th quarter. And Ed Dixon gets a good seal block on the backside. That's how you win football games. And there's a lot of time left in this game. There's a lot of time left in this game. But when you can run the ball and run it in the 4th quarter and have the lead at the same time, you're saying something about yourself.
Rice again. Picked up about a yard. Glover Quinn, Daniel Manning coming up from the secondary to make the stop.
Now some cutbacks are bigger than others. This is a major cutback here. He's outside the right tackle right there, and look at this. He has to hurdle. He hurdles McKinney.
That's mountain climbing.
No, that is a serious hurdle.
Rice gets a breather. Ricky Williams into the backfield. 2nd and 8.
34-year-old Ricky Williams.
Flacco under pressure, throws it over the middle, incomplete. Bounced off Williams.
Well, you're not kidding, under pressure.
How old did Ray Rice say he was when he first took notice of Ricky Williams?
He said he was just a kid and he bought a Ricky Williams jersey. But look at D'Amico Ryans, untouched up the middle, and Ricky Williams just gets a wing on him. This is going to be a middle screen. And Ricky Williams shoved him out of the way. He did his job, but then Joe's pass to him was just a little too far away from him to make the reception. Good job, though, by Ricky Williams of deflecting D'Amico Ryans.
Rice back onto the field on 3rd and 8.
Safety blitz.
Looking for Rice, and this is overthrown. And Rice pulled his defender, Brian Cushing, down with him.
Well, that's a matchup that the Ravens would be thrilled to have over and over. Brian Cushing, a big guy, a great run stuffer, and a pass rusher having to run downfield with Ray Rice.
And have the step on Rice.
Yeah, it didn't work out for Baltimore, but they'd like to have that matchup repeatedly.
So now Jacoby Jones is deep. Jones has returned to punt for a touchdown in the season opener, 79 yards against Indianapolis. Will call for a fair catch on this one and makes the catch at his own 14-yard line with 8 minutes, 39 seconds to play.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by the Honda Odyssey, like no van before. And by Subway Restaurants. Get in on the Subway Taste for Adventure Sweets today.
Welcome back to Baltimore. First down for the Texans at their own 14. Schaub flips to Foster. Foster to the 20, where he's wrapped up by Jameel McClain.
Well, last year these two teams played in one of the best games played the entire season. Derek Mason scored on a 26-yard touchdown to make it 14-0 Baltimore. Then David Reed took that kickoff back 103 yards. 28-7, the Ravens were up. Andre Johnson tied it right at the end of regulation, and then in overtime, Josh Wilson picked off that shot pass to win it for the Ravens, who were out of gas, but won it anyway.
On 2nd and 4, Foster across the 22 to 21-yard line. That's what's happened in fourth quarter.
Yeah, that was last year. And I'll tell you something, that was really one of the most exciting games I saw all season long. Now that is Dominique Barber, a defensive back, headed to the locker room.
Meanwhile, 3rd and 3 for Schaub. And timeout is called. That is the second timeout used by Houston here in the second half. They have one remaining. Time permitting, after this game, the Subway postgame show. JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, and the coach will have all the latest NFL scores and highlights coming up on the Subway postgame show.
In a game this tight, you really would like to have your timeouts at your disposal, and now the Texans are down to only one.
You know who took a lot of flack back in Houston this week was Jacoby Jones, because he didn't figure much in the pass receiving game against Oakland last week, but he's pulled in 4 for 76 and a touchdown today. And Gary Kubiak said, you know, a lot of those, he ran good routes and the ball, just something happened on the way to him.
Well, they had deflected passes last week. They had good defensive plays. Yeah, he's come out of it a little bit this week.
Jones on the near side of the field. 3rd and 3. Schaub under pressure, escapes one, got hit from behind.
As it gets a fumble.
Picked up by the Texans. Wade Smith.
And Matt Schaub he's a little tender. I'm not sure if he's cramping. They were working on his calf over on the sideline. All right, this starts off coming from his left. I think Suggs. Let's see who gets in there. That's Suggs who gets in there first. And then coming from behind, yeah, you can see right there, McPhee gets the hit, knocks the ball loose. But credit Terrell Suggs. He made it happen.
Ed Reed's going to let this one bounce and then pick it up. 30, out to about the 33-yard line. It has been an interesting day, as always, around the National Football League. The San Francisco 49ers, how about them going into Detroit and knocking off the previously unbeaten Lions, and the Eagles finding their winning ways at Washington. The New York Giants defeating the Buffalo Bills by a field goal. Frank Gore, he can run the ball a little bit, can't he?
Sure can. Ahmad Bradshaw gets over 100. And remember, we saw it at halftime that Jim Harbaugh, coach of the 49ers, and Jim Schwartz, coach of the Lions, got into it after the game.
Ricky Williams straight ahead.
You know, it's a new world out there, Greg. It still doesn't register when you act like it's a big deal that somebody went into Detroit and beat the Lions. You know, that's been happening with some regularity for a long time.
Well,
we saw them. We know how good they are.
Sure. That Sean Cody heading off the field under some duress. Sure, we've been saying since the start of the season that when we saw the Lions in preseason, we were convinced they were for real. Flacco to the 49-yard line, and that's complete to Anquan Boldin, who continues his terrific day.
And that is a fabulous throw from Joe Flacco. Look at that tight spiral right onto the hands of Anquan Boldin. Jonathan Joseph, not bad coverage. That is just a brilliant pass.
Boldin enjoying his 31st career 100-yard receiving game. And he has 8 catches for 132.
And there's a guy, by the way, banged up. Matt Schaub he's feeling it over on the Texans bench.
Play fake to Williams. Flacco throws and hits his man inside the 40, the tight end, Ed Dixon. Let's get an update from JB and Dan Marino in New York, guys.
All right, Drew Brees to land some more Drew Brees. Big one play, but that sets up.
The Saints on their way back. Mark Ingram, 12-yard touchdown run, bringing New Orleans within 3. Tampa, 23-20.
Coach Sean Payton in the first quarter, run over by one of his own players, MCL tear, fractured tibia, monitoring the game from the locker room. Back to Greg Gumbel and Dan Dierdorf.
Whoa.
A little vociferous.
Sean Payton, a broken leg and a blown-out knee.
This is Ray Rice. You know, how crazy is it getting when the coaches have all the headlines at the end of an NFL day?
Well, let me tell you, when you're on the sideline, and there's Wade Phillips gets knocked over by an official. It's one thing, coaches on the sidelines have to dodge players. And let me tell you something, that's not funny because Wade Phillips has had a hip replacement, and that was something he didn't need. He's still in the rehab process from a hip replacement.
It's dangerous business, this coaching stuff.
Well, you don't expect to get knocked over by an official.
2nd and 3. Ray Rice, first down, inside the 20, 15, 10, 5, and out of bounds. First and goal.
What kind of balance did Ray Rice show on that run? Again, what a great lead block by Vontae Leach. What an adjustment by Leach, who starts to his right, comes back to his left, and then gets a seal block. But then look at that balance after the hit by Glover Quinn. I mean, seriously, Glover Quinn thought he put Ray Rice on the ground. He was wrong.
What a back-breaking run. Ricky Williams, touchdown. His first as a Raven.
Well, Ray Rice made it all happen, but Ricky Williams gets the gravy, and I think John Harbaugh is telling Ray Rice that right now. You made it happen. And I'll tell you who made it happen on that. The offensive line. What a hole off right guard behind Marshall Yanda and Michael Orr. And once again, the Texans are struggling to win the fourth quarter.
A back-breaking drive by the Ravens. 4:01 to play.
Look at this blocking. Vontae Leach again takes out D'Amico Ryans. Yanda, Orr, Matt Burke. Check it out. John Harbaugh called Vontae Leach a road grader. And for the former Houston Texan player, this has got to be feeling pretty good. Well, Ray Rice has been the man here for the Baltimore Ravens. Started out opening day against Pittsburgh. That's a 36-yarder. Then against Tennessee, 31 reception. And then how about against the Rams? He has a 53-yard run. And then against the Jets 2 weeks ago, that catch goes for 52. And then today, Ray Rice Again, breaking tackles and setting up the touchdown by Ricky Williams.
A 6-play, 66-yard drive. And Coach Harbaugh, you're my guy.
There's a little passion under the skin of the Harbaugh brothers. I think John controls his a little better sometimes than Jim, but they're two passionate guys that love the game of football.
Thunder. And Manning to run this one out. Back to about the 20-yard line. And here comes Schaub in a 12-point hole, 3:53 to play, and 1 timeout on his side.
Well, again, there's been a lot of times here in the second half where first down hasn't been very kind to the Texans. The Ravens defense has repeatedly forced them into long yardage situations, and nobody converts with any sense of regularity against the Ravens in long yardage.
And you saw Ray Rice slapping hands with his offensive line down there. Schaub. Foster. And Foster knocked out of bounds at the 25, maybe the 26-yard line by Bernard Pollard. That's a lot of yards for the little guy.
Well, I mean, when any graphic says most in the NFL and it's a positive thing, that's an accomplishment. Who knew that Ray Rice was going to turn out to be this kind of a pro?
You know what? He knew.
Yes, he did. He's got some confidence.
Schaub throws it this side. It's incomplete, intended for Walter. Defending on the play is Kerry Williams.
Well, he was actually in front of Kevin Walter. If that pass wouldn't have been so high, it would have been picked off. Kerry Williams rather had just perfect position on Kevin Walter. Nobody has left the stadium here.
That's incomplete, also intended for Walter, and Ed Reed was there for this one.
Well, Ed's just sitting out there in center field. He's laughing at it. This is one where Ed didn't really have to chase this ball very much. Ed is camped out back there in the deep middle. And if that ball wouldn't have been thrown so high, and Kevin Walter really does a pretty good job of breaking up.
Ed Reed is a defender with 13 career touchdowns.
Is that good? No kidding.
Schaub throwing far side of the field, and that is called a catch by Jacoby Jones.
Oh, he did. It's all about the spot. The Ravens are really upset about the spot here. Yep, that's a first down. Well, to tell you the truth, where he finally gains possession of the football, I don't think it is a good spot because he juggled the ball. He juggled the ball on initial impact. When it hits his hands, he doesn't get complete control of it. And by the time he does get control of it, he's given up about a yard or so. See, right there, he doesn't have complete control of that ball. That's really close. That's really close. From this angle, let's look at it. Does he juggle the ball? Right there, it looked like it separated in his hands.
And then he went out of bounds at about the 19.
The question is, did he even get both feet down after he gets possession? See, right.
Baltimore is challenging the ruling on the field that it was a first down.
That is so close as to whether or not Jacoby Jones maintained possession of that ball. You know, when you see it, his hands separate on the ball, But the reality is he still had control of it in his other hand. So
here's the play at normal speed.
He had to get to the 30-yard line. Personally, I don't think that he got to that yard marker. Again, where does he have complete control of the ball?
Plus, the other thing is that he has the ball further upfield than where he stepped out of bounds.
Yes. Well, let's put it this way. I think it is a good challenge by John Harbaugh and the Ravens. Now, whether or not they win it or not remains to be seen. Again, you got to see something completely conclusive to overturn the call on the field. And the call on the field gave him the first down.
And if John Harbaugh can cut short any kind of a Houston drive here, that's fine with him.
Oh, yeah, no, I think it's no doubt that it's a good challenge. The whole thing is going to be about whether or not they determine that in the middle of that process that he didn't maintain complete control of the football. I mean, this has a possibility of ending up not being a catch at all.
Right.
Now, that would be a major overturn, but
now, if they're thinking in terms of the forward progress.
But your progress doesn't start until you have completely secured the football. There's no doubt that he is beyond the line when he first makes, when his hands first connect with the football.
Unless the official is looking at that right foot. Watch where the right foot comes down. Possession, and then you see that right foot tap behind him.
Let's look at that right foot. Yeah, it touches the ground. Well, Gene Steratore is taking one long look at this.
And he's done. Here he comes.
After review, the receiver possesses the football. However, his right foot never touches the ground. It lands on top of the receiver's foot. Therefore, the receiver only had 1 foot in bounds. The pass is incomplete. It will be Baltimore's ball, 1st and 10 on the 25.5-yard line. The ball will be placed on the hash mark nearest Houston's sideline. Would the game clock operator please reset the game clock to 3 minutes, 34 seconds. 3:34 on the game clock.
Well, Gene Steratore is saying his right foot never touches the ground, that it touched the other player's foot, that it hits Gore's foot. I thought from the one angle we looked at that it looked like that his toe did drag the turf.
But that last play, that shot there last, didn't look like it did at all. Baltimore. Rice. And the clock is stopped with 3:29 as Houston uses its final timeout.
Yeah, here's the one look that we looked at. Let's really concentrate on that right toe of Jacoby Jones. See, right there, I thought it contacted the ground. From that angle there, I sure thought that his right foot touched the turf.
Heck of an effort by Jacoby Jones. It just didn't work. Those of you expecting to see 60 minutes, you're watching the NFL on CBS, our game between Houston and Baltimore. Greg Gumbel along with Dan Beardorf and the rest of our CBS Sports crew. 60 minutes will be seen in its entirety immediately following this game, except on the West Coast. Baltimore leads at 26-14. with just under 3.5 to play. This is Rice. Inside the 25 to the 23.
Well, this was a game very much being contested until the last drive by the Baltimore Ravens. The last time they had the ball, they went down the field. Ray Rice, a couple of huge plays. Anquan Bolden, a big catch, and they did their best to try to put this away now with a 12-point lead. It has been a very physical football game, a lot of hard hits on both sides. Both quarterbacks have been bounced around.
Hey, stop Ohio! Stop Ohio!
Flacco now with a 3rd and 8. They're going to give it to Rice. Little or no gain on the play. And that will bring out Billy Cundiff once again. Ray Rice, 23 carries, 101 yards on the season, and now Cundiff comes up short of the field.
But you look at the play clock and the game clock, and they are almost identical.
We'll get to the 2-minute warning just as time runs down.
The play clock is going to expire about 1/10 of a second before.
Oh, you mathematician!
But that doesn't count, I don't believe. We don't deal in 10th of seconds.
2 minutes to play in Baltimore.
It's Monday.
Matt Schaub has been courageous in the pocket for the Texans today. He has taken a whooping.
Well, Matt Schaub needs to sit in a hot bath for a couple of days because he's just looking at him on the Houston sidelines. He is sore. He is limping. Remember, he had a bruised shoulder last week after the Raider game.
This will be from 40 yards out. Cundiff looking to tie the team record held by Matt Stover and Cundiff himself with 5 field goals made in a single game. And it's good. So with 1:55 to play, Baltimore extends its lead to 29-14. Want to remind you, tonight begins with Scott Pelley's eye-opening report from Afghanistan on 60 Minutes, followed by a new Amazing Race, The Good Wife, and CSI Miami tonight only. CBS.
Well, Greg, the Texans road trip continues as they go to Tennessee next weekend. So another hostile environment in Nashville as this team that just doesn't do very well on the road has to try to somehow beat a good team on the road.
And every time they think, and every time their fans think they've turned a corner, they come right back around that same corner. This is Sherrick McManus deep.
Well, if football was a 45-minute game, the Texans would be undefeated.
Cundiff will do a re-tee. And he has made it a habit of driving it over, through, and beyond the end line of the end zone.
Well, the question on a kickoff, used to be with the guy returning. Now with Cundiff, the question is a fan going to catch it? I know we moved it up 5 yards, but wow.
And this one will not be returned either. 7th touchback courtesy of Billy Cundiff today.
You see, they're at Tennessee next week, and then back home for Jacksonville and Cleveland, and then go to Tampa Bay before they get their bye on November the 20th. So this is, this is a football team that somehow has got to, if they want to be a division winner and if they want to be a playoff team, you got to learn how to win on the road.
Schaub throws far side of the field, and that is complete and out of bounds is Derek Mason. A couple of tired defensive guys there, and D'Amico Ryans and Ryan Cushing.
There is a lot to like about this team. Connor Barwin has played a heck of a game. I mean, they've competed. They played hard. They played nose-to-nose physical football with one of the most physical teams in the NFL in the Ravens.
Schaub on 2nd and 6 throws complete to Kevin Walter. And his forward progress will be marked at the 27. It'll be a 3rd and 3.
It's just the same old story for the Texans, I'm sorry to say, is that, you know, they just once again appear to have lost the fourth quarter.
Schaub over the middle, and that's incomplete. Mason could not make the catch.
And Andre Johnson, I'm sure is thinking, I can't get back here soon enough.
Oh, I think Gary Kubiak's thinking the same thing.
He was doing some running last week, surprising all of his teammates that he was able to do so quickly after having a little surgical procedure on that hamstring.
4th and 3. They're going to run it with Foster. And Ray Lewis looks like he pulled him up short of first down yardage. He had to make the 30-yard line.
Didn't look like he got there.
And I believe we're going to measure this from where the football is sitting, considering it was a touchback.
Well, keep in mind the chains were on the near side. Looking at that marker on the far side, you can't trust it.
Ball goes over on downs.
With Houston having no timeouts.
Ray Lewis, 12 tackles and a sack today. How unusual.
The Ravens will go into the victory formation and just take a knee. So once again, the Ravens, who have a very lofty, they go to 4-0 now under John Harbaugh the week after a bye. Here's what the Ravens have coming up. They go down to Florida to play Jacksonville. Then we'll see them out in the desert in Arizona. And no, we won't see them out there. We're going to Arizona next week. A little confused there. Then a tough road game, November the 6th at Pittsburgh. And, you know, Pittsburgh, after that debacle they went through on opening day, you know, they'll be looking to try to settle the score. That game will go a long way in deciding who wins the division.
Ray Rice saluting the fans. That's the cheering you hear. And that will do it. That was the final play of this game. And the Houston Texans have to find a way to win the second half of ball games.
Yeah, and when you're getting outscored by more than 2-1, I'm surprised that they're actually 3-3.
The time winds down. Baltimore a winner by a score of 29-14. And a determined, gritty effort for Joe Flacco and the Baltimore Ravens. Our final score, Baltimore 29, Houston 14 for Dan Dierdorf. For the rest of our sports crew, Greg Gumbel. So long from Baltimore, coming up on CBS 60 Minutes, followed by a new Amazing Race, The Good Wife, and CSI Miami tonight only on CBS. A reminder, you've been watching the NFL on CBS.